Every motorcycle plays a different role for its respective brand. While some bring in sales, some keep the legacy alive. And the Bullet 350 clearly inclines more towards the latter for Royal Enfield. Although it has never came even close to the classic 350 in terms of sale, it has been keeping the heritage going. It is world's oldest running production motorcycle, and that gives RE some bragging rights. Now the Bullet 350 has had its fair share of updates over its course of its lifespan, and the latest one just came recently. The new model is based on the brand's new J platform, and every aspect of the motorcycle has been overhauled, and we have tested the motorcycle. The detailed first ride review is already up on our channel. You can check it out by clicking on the I button shown on top. Now, while we were testing the new Bullet 350, we were also fortunate enough to get our hands on the older Bullet, and we rode both of them back to back, and we were truly blown away by how vastly different riding experience they both offer. And that's what this video is going to be all about. Over the course of this video, I'll shed light on the difference in their comfort, the ease of riding, performance, and every other aspect that matters while owning and riding these motorcycles. So let's get cracking, but before we move ahead, be kind enough to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon. Now the old and new Bullet both are purely retro looking motorcycles, and they both are handsome in their own ways. So a circular design theme has been maintained all across. You get a round headlamp, circular rear view mirrors, a teardrop shaped fuel tank, minimalistic body panels, most of which is metal by the way. But I've said this before and I will say this again, that the Bullet has lost its visual identity to some extent. It looks more like the new classic than the older Bullet. Although RE has given it certain elements to differentiate the bike, like the more squared off rear fender, a different seat, a single piece seat with a swooping design, rip pattern and golden pinstripes on the fuel tank and side panels on select color variants, but still at first glance it looks really like the classic. I believe the seat should have been even more curvier, the boxy tail lamp should have been retained from the older Bullet. That would have helped differentiating it from the new classic. However, nevertheless, it's still a good looking motorcycle, and I personally like the one which we tested, the top end fully blacked out model with those golden pinstripes on the fuel tank. But that's a personal preference. You let us know in the comments which color option of the Bullet do you like more. Royal Enfield has seriously stepped up the game in terms of quality. Not that the previous model was outright bad, but the new one is far better. Certain problems like fluid leaking, components rattling, and electrical failures, which were common in RE motorcycles, will certainly not be there. We have used the new Classic 350 for more than a year and didn't face any reliability issues. Since the new Bullet is essentially the same bike as the new Classic, we are certain it is just as reliable. Even when you sit on both motorcycles, the differences in the attention to detail and quality is quite telling. On the new model, the wires are more neatly tucked away, the quality of switch gears is better, and the tactility of buttons is better, and the overall quality and noise levels or NVH levels are also better in controlled on the new model. On the older model, as you approach speeds of let's say 70 kmph, you hear a lot of mechanical noises, sort of rattling noises, which is not the case on the new model. You only hear the engine sound and nothing else. So the new Bullet feels upmarket in almost every aspect, be it quality, precision, or fit and finish, and even the paint quality. Now speaking of engine sound, in the first ride review of the new Bullet 350, we had cranked up both the older and newer Bullet back to back for you to listen to their exhaust notes and decide for yourself which one do you like more. Now to remind you, let's play that footage once more. Now the new Bullet. As you can notice, the newer Bullet sounds bassier and smoother, and more than everything, it sounds better engineered. Whereas the older Bullet sounds a little more mechanical, a little more clattery, but that's a very personal thing, and you tell us in the comments which exhaust note do you like more. And do note that both these older and new Bullet had stock exhaust, whereas when people buy Bullet in India, most of them swap the stock unit with an aftermarket exhaust. So again, that's your personal preference, how you want to make your motorcycle sound. There are subtle differences in their ergonomics. While both the motorcycles make you sit pretty upright, the way the handlebar has been placed is slightly different. The older model, the handlebar is pulled more towards the rider, so you are sitting in a more relaxed position. Whereas on the new model, it is pulled away from you, so your arms are properly stretching out to reach the handlebar. So if you are on the shorter side or your limbs are shorter, you might be sitting in an uncomfortable way, sort of. Over longer hauls, for over short distances, it won't be that much of a bother. But when it comes to seat, it's completely opposite. The seat of the newer model, as also Royal Enfield says, that it has been bestowed with better cushioning, the design is more accommodating, and that's what even I felt while riding both motorcycles. On the older model, your back side gets sore way sooner as compared to the newer model. So over longer distances, I believe the new model will be way more comfortable than the older one. As for the positioning of the foot peg, both are very closely matched. Both the foot pegs are slightly forward set, and the seat height, the new model has gained 5 mm in terms of seat height. It sits at 805 mm, whereas the previous model was 800 mm. So even if you are on the shorter side, let's say 5'6", 5'7", it will still be accessible for you, and you won't have much problem getting on the bike and getting both your feet on the ground properly. Moving on to the heart of the matter, the engine of the new Bullet is hands down the better unit, be it in terms of acceleration, refinement, or the overall feel. It delivers a much more wholesome experience. So the new motorcycle is powered by a 349cc engine, whereas the previous one had a 346cc motor, and both of them are completely different. If you check the power and torque output numbers on paper, they are very closely matched and nearly identical, but out on the road, the story is completely different. In the city, the acceleration is quicker on the newer model, which helps in overtaking vehicles easily. Even at 80 kmph of speed on the highway, the new one feels to have way more grunt to overtake bigger vehicles. It can cruise comfortably at 100 kmph without any vibration, which is not the case with the older model. The previous bike would start vibrating from 60 to 70 kmph itself, and by the time you would reach 100 kmph, the buzz rose to obnoxious levels. Similarly, the gearbox feels crisper on the newer model, which is a big boon in the city. However, the clutch continues to be on the heavier side on the new model as well. Now addressing the elephant in the room, the thump. Our comment section is always filled with debate about how the new Bullets have lost their original violent thump that the older Bullets were known for. Let me get this straight. The thump from the Bullets had fizzled out or had gotten muffled when RE switched from cast iron to UC engines long back, and it's the same case with the newer model as well. You are not going to get the same hardcore thump as the older model because emission norms are to be blamed here. But you can always swap the stock exhaust with aftermarket unit for a more visceral feel and sound. But if you are chasing very pleasant and smooth riding experience, the new model is spot on. The entire hardware package of the Bullet 350 has been replaced with new components, and that is evident in the riding experience. The ride quality of both motorcycles feels similar at slow speeds and through minor undulations. However, as you go faster and dips and crests get larger, the older Bullet gives a violent kickback, especially the rear springs, which is not the case with the new model. The 2023 iteration feels more planted and absorbent. Although both feel stiff, the new model is seemingly more composed. Even the brakes of the new model perform better in terms of bite and lever feel. As for the handling, none of these bikes feel outright agile. You have to apply noticeable effort to turn either of them. but my observation tells that the old model feels more flickable in the city due to the narrower tires. However, when you go fast around corners, the new model traces the intended line more accurately, while the older model feels a bit disoriented and doesn't inspire as much confidence. The new model is clearly the better bike on the feature front. With a semi-digital console, an LCD with crucial information like fuel level, a USB charger and an optional tripper navigation system and dual-channel ABS, all these make the 2023 iteration clearly a more practical and sensible offering. Now, a typical Bullet buyer might not be concerned with modern features, but we can't ignore the fact that these bits do make it more convenient to live with the motorcycle. Now, the entry-level variants of the old and the new Bullet 350, they differ in terms of pricing by about 23,000, which is not much in our opinion. As is clear from our story so far, the new Bullet is better than the older model in almost every area. But when you compare the prices of the top-end variants of the old and new Bullet, there's a substantial difference of close to 47,000, which we think is quite exorbitant. On the new model or on the top-end variant, as compared to the lower spec variant, you get a single disc at the rear, you get dual channel ABS, you get pinstripes, and you get a full black theme. But still, with these changes or with these add-ons, we think 47,000 premium is way too much, so the more affordable variants make more sense. Also, we have said this in our previous video that the Bullet makes more sense than the Classic because you are getting almost an identical motorcycle to the Classic in terms of styling, in terms of features, in terms of hardware and engine, whereas the Bullet is substantially more affordable than the Classic. So to conclude the story, the new Bullet is better than the older Bullet in almost every area, and it delivers a more wholesome, more better engineered and a more refined experience. So that was our comparison of the older and the newer Bullet 350. If you have ridden both the motorcycles, we would love to know your insights in the comment section. Meanwhile, do share this video with your friends, family and with whoever you can. And again, do not forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon. I'm Anuj, signing off for now.